All right, everyone, welcome back into Cherry Picking. We saw game one of some of these NHL Playoff series get underway on Monday night. We got another great slate of games on Tuesday. We're going to be looking at the best bets for Wednesday, April 19th here. So we're going to be looking at the four games we're going to be looking at are Edmonton and LA, Minnesota, Dallas, Islanders and the Hurricanes, and then Florida and Boston. We got those games on Wednesday. I'm going to give you my three best bets. And if you're looking for the odds for any of these games, they're going to be coming from BetMGM Sportsbook or DraftKings Sportsbook. Those links will be in the description to sign up below. BetMGM, you can get a $1,000 first bet offer on them. And then at DraftKings, if you're looking for a little bit of less risk, you bet $5 on any team to win. You get $150 in bonus bets right off the top. But let's get into the first bet. All right, so the first bet we're going to be looking at is in the Islanders and the Hurricanes game. So we're going to look at the under 5.5 at -140. That's pretty much widely available, I would say, at DraftKings, FanDuel. BetMGM's already offering this at 5 at +110 on the under. So I think that's something I definitely consider playing, considering the two style of these teams. I think a lot of people are expecting a very similar game to what we saw in game one. I mean, last game was 2-1 for the Canes. Islanders put up their fight offensively, but we're looking at expected goals here. Carolina 3.5 to 2.5 in terms of against the Islanders. And the goalies both played really solid. Obviously, Ilya Sorokin played fantastic. He made some really good saves. And then Antti Raanta, a guy that I heard a lot of people see Antti Raanta kind of get confirmed and guys be like, oh, Islanders are going to win game one. Well, people don't know that Antti Raanta was 19-3-3 in the regular season with 4 shutouts. He had more shutouts than he had regulation losses in the regular season. So this guy is definitely being underestimated. And we saw him do exactly what he needed to do in game one. He had 25 saves. But the bottom line for both of these teams, they're not creating a ton of high danger chances. And Carolina can definitely do that. But the Islanders won't be able to create enough quality scoring chances against this type of defense. And then going up against Raanta as well, to get a couple past them, there's going to be a lot more push to have if you're going to want to score 2 or 3 against this goalie. And I don't even think that's going to be how the way the Islanders are going to beat Carolina in any of these games. And I think Carolina saw yesterday, they dominated the shot volume, puck possession. They were the team dominating the entire night from start to finish. You saw pockets of where the Islanders put up some good chances against Raanta, but it was really nothing too threatening. So the biggest thing too, even when the Islanders get power plays, they were 0 for 4 on the power play last night. And Carolina, one of the things they didn't do well during the regular season was score on the power play, and they scored 2 out of their 4 goals on the power play last night. So if the Islanders continue to take penalties, and even if Carolina continues to take penalties, I don't really see the Islanders being able to score a ton. The only way these games go over is if Sorokin has a bad game. Because if the Islanders need to win, it's going to be a masterclass from Sorokin. They're going to win like 2-1 or 3-1. So I like the under in this one, under 5.5. And if you want to get a little bit risky and take the plus money play, then go under 5. All right, the next play we're going to be looking at is in the Oilers and the Kings game, going over the Western Conference. And I'm going to be going with the Oilers -1.5 at +130 here. The Oilers just threw that game away on Monday. I talked about it on the intro. Up 3-1 with like 8 minutes left, and they lose 4-3 in OT is a really tough look. But I'll be very surprised if the Oilers go down 2-0 at home here. I think they'll take game 2 in a dominant fashion, which is why I'm going to be taking -1.5 and not just relying on the money line, which is priced around like -220. That's obviously a little too high for me to play as a single. So -1.5 is definitely the play here. For one, the Oilers outplayed the Kings in pretty much every facet of 5-on-5 hockey that was played. Looking at the expected goals and offensive chances created, they almost doubled the Kings. Oilers' expected goals are 3.26 compared to 1.7 on the Kings side in 5-on-5 situations. So both teams had power plays. Both teams did score on the power play for sure. But when you're playing even strength hockey, this Oilers team is going to be the better team night in and night out. Their lineup is just built for that, especially picking up guys on the defensive end like Matthias Ekholm has been a huge help. And it was evident through first 2 periods, obviously, that the Oilers were, I think everyone thought until the last 8 minutes, the Oilers were going to run away with this game, but it ended up happening that way in their bad fortune. I don't think that's going to happen here. We saw in this same series last year, the Kings won the first game 4-3 as well, and then the Oilers came back and won 6-0 in game 2. So I could see a similar narrative here as well. I don't have a ton of faith in Joonas Korpisalo being able to have 40 saves every single night. We saw as they acquired him, a lot of his wins in games were 20 to 25 save wins. The only couple games we saw him go over 30 saves against the Oilers, and the Oilers won both of those. So they had to give up one here. It was obviously unfortunate. It was at home. Doesn't give them a good start to this series at all, but I think they'll kind of corral themselves and win this one. I'm going to take the Oilers to win by 2 at +130 at DraftKings and pretty much everywhere it's around price there. All right, the last play I'm going to be looking at is actually a player prop, and it's Zach Hyman anytime goal in that same game that I was just talking about. I love how Zach Hyman played in that first game. Playing with Nuge and McDavid is such an advantage for him. It makes him look like a bloody all-star, if I'm being honest. He's looked much better with the Oilers than he ever really did with the Leafs, and I think it's just up to opportunity. And you look at this game, in game 1 on Monday night, he had an assist, 5 shots on goal, 8 hits, and he played 21 minutes. Only behind Nuge and McDavid in terms of forwards. He actually edged out Draisaitl in ice time and played 2 minutes more than pretty much any other forward further down the depth chart. So that's huge. And playing on that first line is also a big factor. Woodcroft is putting a lot of what we saw last year from Hyman and kind of testing him and seeing if he can play at the same level. So the key part here is definitely a shot volume for sure, but the quality he created was top tier on the Oilers. Although he didn't score, he led the team in expected goals for in 5-on-5 situations. I expect the Oilers in general to score more goals in this game than they did in their game. And Hyman was a big part of their scoring last year's playoffs. As I just mentioned, he had a stretch last postseason where he had a goal in 6 straight games. It was during that Calgary series and even leaked into that Colorado in the Western Conference Finals. So playing with McDavid next game, he'll be hungry and ready to feed Hyman for another 3 or 4 scoring chances, and I definitely think he'll be able to capitalize. Plus 155 is a great price for a guy playing on the first line with Connor McDavid. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. These videos will be coming out every day during the week as long as the first round is going on. Be sure to sign up at BetMGM or DraftKings. Those links are in the description below, and I'll see you tomorrow.